What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So the US is now caught in the middle of yet another potentially dangerous situation here. And it's particularly concerning because there is about 1,100 US troops already on the ground there. This is in the country of Niger. And their president just got overthrown by a new military leader. And world leaders across the globe are concerned about this. And not only is there over 1,000 US military troops' lives at risk there, but there's also billions of US dollars at risk there as well. And the question is, could this be another potentially dangerous war type of situation? What is going to happen? Take a look here. Yeah, the country of Niger, they're saying that they will be losing Western aid, including from the United States, as the US reportedly gives them about $2 billion per year in official domestic assistance, according to the World Bank. $2 billion per year. Yeah. The European Union has also officially cut off their financial support. The US has threatened to do the same after military leaders this week announced that they have already overthrown their democratically elected president, Mohamed Bazoum. Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world, receiving close to $2 billion a year, according to the World Bank. It is also a key security partner of Western countries such as France, the United States, and many countries in the EU, which use it as a base for their efforts to contain an Islamic insurgency in the West and Central Africa's Sahel region. They are also the world's 7th biggest producer of uranium. Yeah, so think about that there for a second. The country's allies have so far refused to recognize the new military government, which is now led by General Tahani, which you can see his picture here. The Wagner Group from Russia is hailing the coup. Remember that the Wagner Group recently attempted a coup attempt on Russia's President Vladimir Putin. How much influence Russia currently has into this coup, we're not quite sure yet, but there is potentially some influence and some meddling, especially because of how much Western influence and United States influence is there. One thing's for certain, the United States is not happy about this. The United States currently has military bases there and over 1,100 US military troops currently stationed there. Take a listen here to United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken and what they have to say here today and what might be happening here going forward.
New reaction today from Secretary of State Antony Blinken to that military coup in Niger. This after the soldiers who staged the uprising have now elected their military leader as new head of state. The White House condemned their actions. Here's Blinken at a news conference in Australia.
Let me be very, very clear about this, as I have been in my phone conversations. Our economic and security partnership with Niger, which is significant, hundreds of millions of dollars, depends on the continuation of the democratic governance and constitutional order that has been disrupted. So that assistance, that support is in clear jeopardy as a result of these actions, which is another reason why they need to be immediately reversed.
NBC's Courtney Kube is in the capital city of Niamey. Courtney, welcome. It has been 4 days, right, since that revolt. So how are things over there? What are you seeing?
Yeah, that's right. And it's been about a day now since we've had one person from this military council who's emerged as the leader, the self-proclaimed president of this country. So what I will say is the first 2 days or so that after President Bazoum, he's the democratically elected president here in Niger, The first 2 days or so after he began to be a hostage to his own security forces, we saw some protests in the streets. Some of them got a little bit heated, though, Alex, including burning some vehicles, throwing stones. But in the 2 days since then, we haven't seen protests. The streets are relatively calm. People are operating as normal. Now, from the U.S. perspective, they still recognize President Bazoum as the leader here of this country. We heard Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He actually has spoken to him twice since he's became a detainee in his own presidential residence. We also heard some pretty strong language out of the White House late this week. John Kirby, the spokesperson for the National Security Council, is laying out some of the real consequences that could befall Niger if this coup were to stick. Here's what he had to say.
The United States condemns in the strongest terms any effort to seize power by force and to disrupt constitutional order in Niger. A military takeover may cause the United States to seize security and other cooperation with the government of Niger, jeopardizing existing security and non-security partnerships. To the people of Niger, it's important that you know the United States and this administration stands with you. We are committed to defending democratic governance and the respect for the rule of law and human rights.
And we heard Secretary of State Antony Blinken say that hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake. Well, according to a State Department official, it's more than $400 million are at stake. But in addition to that, it's also the security assistance here. Now, that's actually what we came here to cover, was the U.S. military's mission here. It's about 1,100 individuals strong. They train the Nigerian military forces, and they support them in some of their counter-terror missions. This area is where several different serious and growing terror networks have been converging. An al-Qaeda affiliate and an affiliate of the Islamic State, known as the Islamic State in the greater Sahel. They are here and they are moving closer. They are gaining ground. There's real concern that if, in fact, this military coup does become the government here in Niger, the U.S. would have to pull, by law, would have to pull some of that assistance, Alex.
Courtney, very quickly, you mentioned the first 2 days of unrest and the demonstrations, the fires and the like, and then 2 days of relative calm, which begs this question: where do the people of Niger stand on this?
Yeah, and that's an excellent question. And it just makes it even more complicated when you consider that some of the people on day two who were protesting outside of the president's party headquarters, in fact, setting fire to things, they were holding Russian flags. There is some belief that some of them may have actually been paid to do so. But it's really unclear where the people stand. The first day, they seemed to be supporting the president. The second day, they were against him. And that's even made more difficult because some of the people who are standing up behind General Chiani, the self-proclaimed new leader of the country, it's not clear, according to U.S. officials, whether they all really are on board with this coup or not, Alex.
You know, and what's particularly interesting here is that the world is kind of watching right now what happens with these coup kind of attempts right now, and, you know, other countries trying to take over other countries, Russia trying to take over Ukraine, China particularly trying to take over Taiwan. You know, Russia took over Crimea back in 2014. And these type of situations are being watched very closely by the rest of the world. So what happens here, especially because the U.S. has an influence there, you know, this country is getting support from the EU, from the United States, from the rest of the world, and the U.S. has military bases there and uses this as a military base in and around Africa, has 1,100 military troops there that need to be protected, and they use this as a strategic base. But more so is that the world's watching to see what can happen there and what other outside influences may be using this to take over there. You can let me know your thoughts here on this, but we'll have to watch this closely and see what happens, and also see what might happen afterwards to see if there's military, you know, outside influence, or if the U.S. steps in, or what might happen here going forward to see if there's any type of, you know, war type of situation to go in there and try to put the old president back in. Does the U.S. step in, or what happens here afterwards? Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything happening here on a daily basis that you need to know about. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below, click the bell icon. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day. Thanks for liking and sharing these videos. If you haven't yet, click here to watch my brand new video. I just did an interview with Colonel Anthony Shaffer. Very good video here. I'll also have a part 2 video of it coming up here soon. An absolutely stellar video I just did. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.